People today have a very fast-paced life and hardly have time to take care of themselves. As a result, lifestyle disorders and other ailments are on the rise. Here, nutritionists play a very important role. They can help people know how to stay healthy and select the right food. Today, we have with us Clinical Nutritionist Ishi Khosla. Hello, ma'am. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Kakuli.
Nowadays, everybody is talking about immunity. What would you suggest to including diet to boost immunity?
Yes, with the pandemic, suddenly immunity has become the buzzword, and everyone's looking at building immunity through whatever way, some pills and potions, and some practices. So it's very natural, but one must realize that immunity boosting cannot just happen with the magic of having a few pills or having a kada or just having one chavanprash or just, well, these are very important and they are good, but overall lifestyle and food and digestion and what you put into your mouth is very important, because what you eat is going to determine your immunity, because your immune system is in your gut. So more than 70 to 80% of your immune system resides in the gut. So whatever you eat, and if your gut is unhappy with it, you are going to be compromising your immunity. So, and how do you know what you're eating is good for you? So if you have any kind of chronic problems, if you have any digestive issues, if you have autoimmune problems or any chronic degenerative metabolic issues, diabetes, you have to go deep down into your gut and address what is causing this problem. Look out for food sensitivities, make your gut happy, give it probiotics, give it prebiotics, give it the right kind of nutrients, and of course the phytochemicals and the herbs that we have, and the kind of spices and the kara and the chavanprash and all of these things then become useful. So, but just high doses of one nutrient or just having zinc or vitamin C is not the way to build up immunity. They are good practices, but as a whole, they must be done in context. And one of the key nutrients which is involved in immunity building in nutrition is vitamin D. Vitamin D and in fact zinc also. So ensure that you do blood work, ensure that you're having optimum levels of this nutrient, and magnesium deficiency is common, and B12, etc. So all of these are important. So one simple formula is not going to help you build immunity, and keeping your digestive system clean and happy is the way to start building immunity. And the other is keeping your body weight under check. People don't think about food in that fashion. People think that the more you eat, the better the immunity, and how can we fast and how can we eat less because it will affect our immunity. That's not true. We have to ensure that body weight is kept under close to BMI as possible, ideally, and also your waist circumference. That means visceral fat or abdominal fat must be kept under control to build up immunity, because there's enough research to tell us that the people who have had maximum problems with the pandemic, with the COVID infection, the maximum mortality is among people who have had obesity and central obesity. So it is a direct consequence of inflammation, and therefore keeping the diet as an anti-inflammatory diet, as a gut-friendly diet, and a diet which helps to keep your body weight and waist under control are the only ways to deal with it.
And what should be included in a balanced diet for an adult? And anything specific you want to mention for women?
Well, a balanced diet is very clearly, it must give you all the macronutrients, micronutrients, phytochemicals, everything in the right proportion. And it also is about just not one, not just what you're eating, it's about how much you're eating and when you're eating and how you're eating. So it's all about balanced diet becomes relevant only when all these things are addressed. So the nutrient content should be adequate. It should be rich in vegetables and fruits and proteins and fiber and fluid. And like I said earlier, nutritional deficiencies must be addressed. And when you eat, if I eat all my meals at night, after the sun has set, and continue to eat in the midnight hours, I will not be doing this. I will be doing this service to my body, even though I'm having a balanced diet. So everything is in context. So oversimplification of one aspect is not going to give you the desired results. And also remember that a balanced diet is balanced for in context to every individual. Your genes, your body type, your requirements are different and distinct from your even your family members. So customization of diet is a part of talking about the balanced diet. So one man's food is another man's poison. So that definitely applies to diet. So no matter how balanced, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, we are eating absolutely fine. We are eating 2 chapatis at lunch and 2 at dinner, and we eat our fruit and we eat our vegetables, yet we're not feeling good, because you may be eating something which is not working for you. So you asked me something about women.
Yes, ma'am.
And yes, women need to focus more on certain nutrients, but today I see it's almost across men and women. We are seeing cross deficiencies, but women with the menstrual cycle lose more blood, and iron deficiency is common, and B12 deficiency and folic acid are more important in women. But they need to be assessed and addressed and supplemented. So these are 3 nutrients which are specifically important. And for women, again, it's important through their life cycle. They go through a lot of hormonal upheaval, which means that, through the menstrual cycle, through the premenstrual time, through the pregnancy time, through the lactation time, menopausal and perimenopausal times, and postmenopausal time. These are all challenges for women, and they come with a baggage of what we call change in gut flora. And so they are more prone to developing problems. So therefore, they need to address gut health. They need to be more mindful of what they eat, and they need to be more, focused on gut health.
Okay. So post middle age, is it helpful to turn vegetarian?
I don't think turning vegetarian is something which is going to result in good health alone. Again, I'm saying it's oversimplification. If I'm eating a vegetarian diet and I'm not choosing wisely, it's not going to help me. So I can eat aloo parathas and puris and paneer and dal and aloo and call myself a vegetarian, which a lot of vegetarians do. And then they feel sorry for themselves. Oh, we are just eating biscuits and tea, and we are having roti and roti and sabzi and roti and sabzi. That's not going to amount to good health. So just being a vegetarian is not okay unless you ensure that your diet is well chosen. It's a healthy vegetarian diet which includes at least 70% plant food, and you make sure you take all the brightly colored vegetables and fruits and in the right amounts. Only then that will be a good idea. And whether it is a middle age or whether it is youth or whether it's old age, it's your choice. But just simply becoming vegetarian, and even non-vegetarians are quite healthy if they eat a good diet, a balanced diet.
What is essential for diabetics to include in a diet?
What is essential is basically to address, number 1, their body weight, number 2, the waist circumference. Then their diet must be suitable for controlling their blood sugars through high fiber and through good fats and adequate protein, and a lot of phytochemicals and nutritional deficiencies, of course, need to be addressed for diabetics as well. So today we treat diabetics by getting into their gut health and addressing food sensitivities, and we almost are able to reverse diabetes in most of our patients. So I think today it's eating a healthy diet and eating a diet which is customized for you is the answer.
Even thyroid is very common among women these days. So, what would you advise them? What to avoid and
The reason for thyroid disorders are becoming common because I just told you women are more prone to upheavals in hormones during their life cycle, and those upheavals are basically accompanied with gut changes, and autoimmunity and gut health are quite closely associated. The root cause of thyroid problems, whether it is Hashimoto's or the hyperthyroid graves, whatever is autoimmune, is really starting from gut and food sensitivities. So these are issues which are becoming very common: gluten sensitivity, dairy sensitivity, nutritional deficiencies, inflammation. These are the main causes for the increase in thyroid disorders and autoimmune disorders.
even hypertension is a lifestyle disorder. What dietary changes do you recommend to tackle it?
Well, hypertension is certainly a lifestyle disorder, and the best way to deal with it is number one, reducing belly fat. Number two is reducing salt, and also to increase the potassium content through vegetables and fruits, and having good fats. The omega-3 fats are known to bring down blood pressure. But again, not one strategy alone. It needs to be combined, and everything needs to be put together. So a high, diet which is high in potassium, a diet which is low in sodium, with a diet which is good in high omega-3 fats, and apart from that, the diet which is high in fiber and good for your digestion and body weight and waist. That's the best way.
Okay, ma'am, you already spoke about COVID, but still, do you want to suggest any diet for COVID patients and post recovery? Post recovery, what should they have?
Yeah, I think most people who have been through COVID and have a what we call a leaky gut. Leaky gut is a consequence of insult to the gut lining, and that causes a very porous, or like we call increased intestinal permeability, and that porosity causes the passage of foods that you're eating commonly to go into the blood and cause inflammation. So most people who are suffering from post-COVID are going through this, and therefore they are putting on weight, and they are initially they lose weight and they start putting on weight, then their sugars go out of control, or they have they're developing high blood pressure, or even other cardiovascular incidents are common, skin problems and lower immunity. We are seeing all that. So the first thing is to look at food sensitivities, rule out those, get yourself tested, ensure your nutritional status: vitamin B12, iron, magnesium, calcium, and vitamin D, zinc are all up there. Optimum levels are there. You restore that, restore the gut flora. You can have probiotics and prebiotics, and drink a lot of fluids to detoxify your body. And fasting also helps to regenerate the damaged cells. So if you can do intermittent fasting or any form of fasting, or just a fruit and vegetable fast, will help you rebuild your body, and to replenish the lost nutrients during this COVID time. So it's a whole process, and it takes a while, and it needs to be done, because otherwise your immune system gets compromised, and then you are more vulnerable to developing other problems. So it's important that we address all this.
Okay, ma'am, generally, some people follow like once a week they fast, like during the daytime they fast. Is it helpful?
Yes, fasting is a good practice, and fasting done correctly, maybe you can feast for a while, but 8 hours of eating and 16 hours of fasting, or just an alternate day fast, or you can do 5 and 2. 5 days you eat whatever, 2 days you fast. Whatever suits your psyche and your convenience, you can do that. But certainly it will be a step in the right direction to replace the damaged cells and restore the body's functionality.
Okay, ma'am, and some food related to moods also.
Yes, most of the serotonin, which is the happiness hormone, the dopamine, which is again happiness, pleasure hormone, and many, many more hormones are secreted in the gut only. Most of them. So certainly, if you eat foods which are not good for your gut, your mood is also going to get affected. So we see that in common practice, and the gut flora gets affected negatively. So yes, food and mood very, very closely have a very strong relationship. And there is now what we call a gut-brain axis, the connection between the brain and the gut. And in fact, there are more signals going from the gut to the brain than the brain to the gut. If there are 8 going from the gut to the brain, there's only 1 from the brain to the gut. So again, these are important, and certain foods help to build up serotonin, chocolate, berries, and several other foods which we are aware of, typically high in phytonutrients, are going to help mood building. But if you just eat those foods, it's not going to help. If you address it as a whole, it's going to help for sure. And omega-3 fats are also the ones which are found in fish, are very useful for the brain because they're anti-inflammatory. So that is a given that, and in India, we don't have adequate levels of these fats in most people. So supplements of fish oils are desirable. Having chia seeds and flax seeds are desirable, and having mustard oil, all of that is a part of, I think, the Bengali hub, where these are, mustard oil and fish are so native. And so these have a very good effect on the mood and the brain.
People have a conception that children's metabolism is fast, and so they can digest easily and can have anything and everything. So what would you advise?
Well, children definitely have a far more different metabolic rate, and different bodies and different requirements, and they can get away with far more abuse because their bodies are young. But that doesn't mean that you abuse the body, and that doesn't mean you eat anything and everything. The quality of food and the quantity of food, both are important. So if the quality is poor, it is natural that your outcome, your nutritional status, your overall health and well-being, growth potential, and achieving peak potential will not happen. So just because you can eat anything and everything, it does not give you a license to misuse that, because it's not about your body weight alone. It's like a plant. When you nourish the plant well, then you get a good, in the initial days, you get a good, sturdy plant. And if you don't, then, the sapling doesn't grow well. So it's very simple.
Some people follow a zero carb diet to lose weight. Is it harmful in the long run?
Yes, a zero carbohydrate diet cannot happen, but it is usually what I can say, a low carbohydrate diet, which again is not a diet for long-term use. It can be used short-term, but long-term health consequences are not good for a low-carb diet. You can have a better carbohydrate diet, you can have a controlled carbohydrate diet, but very low carbohydrate diets have other problems. They are used medically for certain medical conditions, like epilepsy and brain neurological disorders, but these are not the best ways to lose weight long term. This is not a sustainable way.
The youth these days sometimes have excessive intake of protein and protein supplements to build muscles fast. How does the body react to that? Isn't it unhealthy?
Well, good amount, adequate protein is important for the body, and being conscious of the protein intake is also good, but overemphasis on just one nutrient can be counterproductive. And I think that's what's happening. Youngsters are taking almost double the requirements of protein, thinking that that is important for their muscle mass. That's not true. Excessive protein in the body will turn into fat, And typically what's happening is they are calculating wrong. I get a lot of patients who are thinking that they're not eating enough protein while they are, but the maths that they're doing around it is wrong. So I think it's important to address a scientific, in a scientific way, how much protein is required, and ensure you meet it through ideally the dietary sources. And only if there's a deficit, we need a protein supplement. But in my opinion, most people are able to meet the requirements just through food, and excessive protein can be completely avoided and should be avoided because it comes with other risks. So I think you're absolutely right that excessive protein should be avoided, and eating protein will not equal to muscle mass. It needs to be used. You need to do weights, and you need to do repetitions, and you need to do a complete workout for the muscle mass to develop, and mostly dietary protein is adequate.
Thank you so much for such insightful information. It was really nice talking to you. I'm sure this will help our viewers a lot. Thank you again, ma'am, for taking your time for us.
Thank you, Kakuli. Good luck. Best wishes to you.
Thank you, ma'am.